Hello, this is Paranormal Girl. We've all heard of the Fatima Prophecy. She was the young girl who was given the vision of the Virgin Mary, and she was given three prophecies to pass on to the future world. I'll talk a little bit about her and we'll find out who she was and what it was all about. The Fatima Prophecy. In the Roman Catholic Church, the miracle of Fatima is arguably the most well-known apparition of the Blessed Mother. Her appearance to the three shepherd children in Portugal in 1917 was, according to many witnesses, accompanied by several unexplained events, including a shared vision of the sun dancing and moving about erratically in the sky. During her many appearances to the children, Our Lady bestowed upon them three prophecies. The first two were disclosed by Lucia dos Santos, the eldest of the three children, after she wrote them down in the early 1940s. But the third and final prophecy was not to be revealed until 1960. But 1960 came and went, and the third prophecy was not revealed because the Vatican said that the world was not quite ready for it. This reluctance to disclose the secret led to the speculation among the faithful that it contained information about our future that was so horrific that the Pope dared not reveal it. Perhaps it foretold a nuclear war or the end of the world. The first prophecy. In the first prophecy, the children were shown a terrifying vision of hell. Were told that this is where the souls of poor sinners go. Then they were told that the world war then taking place, what we now called World War I, would soon end. The war is going to end, Lucia quoted the Blessed Mother as saying, but if people do not cease offending God, a worse one will break out during the reign of Pius XI. When you see a night illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the great sign given to you by God, that He is about to punish the world for its crimes by means of war, famine, and persecutions of the Church and the Holy Father. Did this prophecy come true? World War I did indeed end and was followed by the worst war, World War II. But remember that Lucia revealed this prophecy in writing during 1940 after the Second World War had already begun. Also, it's interesting that Pius XI is actually named in the prophecy. When the apparition of Our Lady allegedly made the prophecy in 1970, Benedict XIV was Pope. Pius XI became Pope in 1922. So either Our Lady also predicted the name of the future Pope, who reigned until 1939, or Lucia did some prophecy fulfilling of her own. What about the sign of a night illuminated by an unknown light? Before the outbreak of war, according to Fatima Prophecies, on January 25, 1938, a remarkable display of the aurora borealis was visible across Europe. The year before World War II began. The light was so bright that people panicked. This display of the northern lights might have illuminated the night in some spectacular fashion, but even in 1917, the aurora borealis was hardly an unknown light. Also again, Lucia revealed this prophecy after the fact. The second prophecy. When you see a night illuminated by an unknown light, know that this is the great sign given you by God, that He is about to punish the world. To prevent this, I shall come and ask for the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart, and the communion of reparation of the first Saturdays of each month. If my requests are heeded, Russia will be converted and there will be peace. If not, she will spread her errors throughout the world, causing wars and persecutions of the Church. The good will be martyred. The Holy Father will have much to suffer. Various nations will be annihilated. Many believers assert that this prophecy foresees the spreading of communism by Russia, which had become the Soviet Union. Wars were of course fought to halt the spread of communism. Then in 1984, Pope John Paul II consecrated the Soviet Union. Subsequently, in 1991, the Soviet Union disintegrated into 15 separate countries, but it can hardly be said that Russia was undergone a religious conversion. When it comes down to it, the accuracy of the first two Fatima prophecies rests on the faith. Skeptics can poke large holes into them, while believers hold them up as proof that heaven has a vested interest in life on earth. So, what of the third prophecy? The third prophecy. In 1944, Lucia wrote out the third prophecy, as she was said she heard it as a 10-year-old girl in 1917. She sealed it and presented it to Portugal's Bishop of Leiria. She told him that Our Lady's instructions were that it was not to be revealed to the public until 1960. The bishop turned over the prophecy to the Vatican. In 1960, John Paul the 23rd opened the sealed prophecy and read it, and the faithful anxiously awaited its promised revelation. But it was not to be. In apparent defiance of the Blessed Mother's instructions, the Pope refused to reveal the contents of the prophecy, saying, "This prophecy does not relate to my time." But some say John the 23rd fainted when he heard the third secret, because it specifically states, according to eyewitnesses, that the Pope will betray the flock and turn his sheep over to the slaughter devised by Lucifer himself. John the 23rd fainted because he thought he would be the Pope who would open the door to Satan, and that he would be the long-awaited anti-pope. It has been speculated that subsequent popes also read the prophecy and likewise chose not to make it public. Finally, 40 years later, the complex text of the prophecy was released, but the controversy surrounding it is far from over. On May the 13th, 2000, the anniversary of the assassination attempt on him, the Pope visited the shrine of Fatima and made a surprise announcement that the secret would finally be revealed. The Vatican then told the world that the secret was a foretelling of the 1981 assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II. The referred to passage states, "The Holy Father passed through a big city half in ruins and half trembling with halting steps. Afflicted with pain and sorrow, he prayed for the souls of the corpses he met on his way. Having reached the top of the mountain, on his knees at the foot of the big cross, he was killed by a group of soldiers who fired bullets and arrows at him." This scenario hardly describes the attack on John Paul by a lone gunman, Mehmet Ali Agca, right in St. Peter's Square in May 1981. The setting is not the same. There was no group of soldiers, and the Pope, though seriously wounded, was not killed. Ironically, however, Ali Agca, even before the revelation of the secret was made, had said that he had compelled to kill the Pope as part of some divine plan, that the act was related to the third secret of Fatima, and the Pope, shortly after he was shot, said he believed it was the hand of the Virgin Mary that deflected the attacker's bullet, allowing him to survive. So what's your thoughts on Fatima's prophecy? Do you think that was the third and final prophecy that was given to him? If anyone knows anything about Fatima, please leave a comment below. I would be very interested in reading about it.